Hey everyone, and a huge welcome to all of Professor Tanya Rodriguez's Introduction to Psychology students at UAM College. Today, we are going to dive into the really fascinating evolutionary roots of our own behavior. We're going to unpack why we think and feel and act the way we do by taking a look deep into our shared human past. So here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the big picture, what this whole evolutionary lens is all about. Then we'll zoom right in on adaptation, see how things like culture and our social brain fit into the puzzle, and then at the very end, we'll bring it all home with what I like to call our evolutionary toolkit. Ready? Let's get into it. Okay, so our first stop is all about gaining some perspective. It's about seeing how looking back, way back, can actually help us make sense of our minds right here and now. This is the big one, isn't it? It's the question that really drives the entire field of psychology. We're all trying to find answers by looking at this incredible dance between our minds, our brains, and the world around us. And you know what? One of the most powerful ways to get at that is by looking at where we came from. And that brings us to the core idea of evolutionary psychology. The thinking here is that our behaviors aren't just random. Nope. Instead, our thoughts, our feelings, even our gut reactions have been shaped over thousands upon thousands of generations. They were shaped by pressures to solve real-world problems that all came down to survival and reproduction. What's so wild is seeing how these ancient instincts are still playing out in our modern lives. These aren't just little quirks in our personality. They are survival strategies that have been tested over millennia. Take that common fear of snakes or spiders. That was a life-saving feature. Our ancestors who felt that jolt of fear and jumped back were more likely to pass on their genes. Or think about that deep, deep need to belong to a group. That wasn't about being popular. It was about staying safe from predators. And our impulse to cooperate, that was absolutely key to hunting big game and making sure the whole group made it. These are powerful, powerful echoes from our past, baked right into our psychology. All right, let's move on and see how this whole building process really works. We're going to take a look at adaptation, which is basically evolution's #1 tool. So what in the world is an adaptation? Well, you can think of it as any inherited trait, and that can be physical or psychological, that gave an organism a better shot at surviving and reproducing in its environment. It's evolution's way of finding a solution to a problem and then passing that solution down through the generations. And this just perfectly illustrates how much the environment shapes our minds. Just imagine the world our ancestors lived in. It was a series of constant, high-stakes challenges, remembering where that hidden spring of fresh water was, telling the difference between a poisonous berry and a nutritious one, or hearing that tiny rustle in the grass that meant a predator was nearby. The minds that could handle those challenges, the ones with sharp memory, focused attention, and quick thinking, were the ones that made it. So in a very real way, the brain power we use today for things like spreadsheets and social media was forged by those ancient pressures. It's kind of like we're running ancient software on modern hardware. Now, evolution isn't just about shaping individuals. It's also about shaping groups. And one of the most powerful strategies a group can have is culture. But as we're about to see, there's more than one way to build a successful society. You can really see two broad models emerge. On one hand, you have collectivist cultures, which are common in many parts of Asia and Latin America. There, your identity is really woven into the fabric of the group. The focus is on the community, on harmony. On the other hand, you have individualist cultures, like in the US and parts of Europe, where the emphasis is on your personal identity, on independence, and what you can achieve on your own. And here's the crucial takeaway. It's not about which one is better. They're just different and equally successful responses to different challenges. Collectivism is an amazing strategy for group survival through tight-knit cooperation. Individualism can be a really powerful engine for innovation and personal ambition. At the end of the day, both are winning evolutionary strategies. This brings us straight to the amazing organ that makes all of this possible, the human brain. You see, it didn't just evolve to solve puzzles in the physical world. It evolved to navigate incredibly complex social worlds. This sentence really gets to the very heart of what it means to be human. For our ancestors, survival was all about their ability to interact, to communicate, to cooperate. Being social wasn't some optional add-on. It was the absolute key to staying alive. And our brains are uniquely equipped for this job. It's like we're born with a social toolkit. This includes the ability to read social signals in a split second, like knowing if a smile is real or if it's hiding something. We are literally hardwired to figure out what other people are thinking, to form deep bonds, and to build the kind of trust and cooperation that lets groups thrive. These aren't just skills we pick up, they are functions our brains evolved specifically to perform. All right, we're in the home stretch. For our final section, let's pull all of these different threads together. We're going to build a complete model that shows how all these pieces connect to create the behavior we see every day. Just look at how beautifully this flows. It all starts with the slow, long-term process of evolution. That process produces adaptations, our inherited psychological toolkits. Those adaptations then shape our cognition, how we think and process the world. Our cognition then gets expressed through our actual observable behavior. And all of this is happening inside a specific environment, which is constantly pushing and pulling and modifying everything else. It's this living, breathing, interconnected system. And that brings us to maybe the single biggest takeaway of this whole explainer. We are not just a product of our genes, and we're not just blank slates shaped by our environment. The truth is, we are the result of a constant conversation between our deep, ancient evolutionary history and the immediate world we live in right now. So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. The next time you feel a rush of emotion, or you make a snap judgment, or you feel that pull to connect with a friend, just ask yourself, how much of what I'm doing right now is being guided by a blueprint that was written thousands and thousands of years ago? It's a pretty fascinating question. Thanks so much for tuning in.